Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. Hey everybody, it's Mark Breyer here in the studio, and I just thought that was a kind of a funny way to get started with a video about drawing ears. And instead of talking more about it, let's just head over to the drawing table and get started. All right, everyone, here we are at the drawing board. We've got our pencil, we've got our paper, we've got an eraser. You want to have all those things with you, obviously, if you're going to do some drawing. It's good to have the essential tools. And as promised in an earlier video, we're going to talk about ears, specifically easy ears. And what I thought I would just start with is just a basic structure using the easy ear technique, and then we can kind of elaborate from there. And as you can see, we have a blank sheet of paper, and it's what I'm told and what I hear is it's the most intimidating thing to an artist is a blank sheet of paper. So let's just take care of that right now. Let's go. Ta-da! There we go. It is no longer a blank sheet of paper. It's now a piece of artwork. So there we go. So let's start out here. And as I said, this is an easy technique and we can elaborate and get more detailed from here. So I like to start with the letter C, which is basically like that, a letter C. And then you simply just go inside and make another little C, just like that. And voila, we have an ear. It's a simple one, but we have one. And if we try again, maybe a little bit of a different shape, we might do it like this. And then we'd do our little shape inside like that. Now, if we want to go a little bit more in depth, we can do add an extra part of the ear, which would be like the inner part of the lobe, like that, or if up here, we do it here like that. And that gives it a little bit more depth to be able to make it look more like an ear. But all we need to do is do our C. Make our C inside like that. And as you do this technique, you can change the shape, change the movement or the position of the inner C. As you move it around inside, like here, we can do this like that, and we can do like a little part up here like that to make maybe a bigger lobe. And we might be able to do it like this, and maybe you'd make it a little bit farther down at the bottom like that, making a fatter part of the ear up here. Depending on your character and what you want to do and what you want to make them look like, if they want to have stubby ears or long ears or giant ears or fat ears, whatever you'd like to do. And we can also do, as a lot of characters have, is pointed ears. So elves and Vulcans and aliens and things like that. So we might, but still, we start with sort of a C, and we're starting with basically a C inside, like that. You're really drawing the same shape on the inside as you did on the outside. So that's kind of the key there. Say you made a crazy ear like that with a lobe at the bottom. You might want to just do your little C there and maybe another little line there if you want. Or here we have maybe an ear that goes like that. That's like sticks way out like almost like an animal's ear. You can come out like that. And if we have, say we have a Star Wars character, a certain Star Wars character, like a baby Yoda or a Yoda, obviously we would have an ear that would go out like that and like that. And if you would look at the ear closely, you would notice that there's another little piece on the inside like that shows the edge of the ear. And this would be the inside, and this would be the outside edge of the ear. And so that's the technique we're looking at. Sort of looks a little bit like a wishbone in a way, doesn't it? But you want to draw your outer shape and then draw your inner shape the same size, not exactly the same size, but the same shape as your outer shape. So now if we wanted to look at the ear, and this is looking at an ear from the side view. Now, if we're looking at an ear from the front, we would see here, say we would have the side of someone's head like that, and the ear would be very, very narrow like that. And then the lobe would be very, very skinny like that. So we've got a same shape, same ideas we have on all these, but we're just making this a little bit narrower, because as the head turns, it gets a little bit more narrow and a little bit more squished, more flat against the head. And that would go with any ear or with any character. As you turn sideways, your ear would be, now if you're talking about a larger ear, it would be, or with a lobe, it would be like that. You're taking your same shape and just squishing it down a little bit. And you do your inner side, or your inner shape, kind of like that. You can give that little lobe on the inside if you'd like. Gives it a little bit more dimension there. And you could even add a little bit of shading in here if you'd like. That kind of gives you a little depth there. I can zoom in on that a little bit there for you. But yeah, we can add a lobe here, add a little bit of shadow there. I'll come back out here so we can see, but that's what we have. As you can see, we started from a very simple idea. Very simple idea. Maybe we get a little more crazy with the ear shape, but still doing that same technique on the inside. Now these doing side view ears or front view ears is a little bit more of a challenge, because you really have to think about the structure of your ear and how it bends and how it moves as the head turns. So I think I may have mentioned once before that you have to think of your characters in 3 dimensions. They have a front, and they have a side, and then they have a back. And of course, a top and a bottom. So it helps to think of the ear the same way. It has a side, it has a front. Now, if you're looking at the back of an ear, I just happened to think of that. Here we are, if we're looking at a head, if you're looking at the back of an ear, that would be sort of the same way, but you might see a little piece here like this, which is the ear coming off of the head and onto the ear. Now you wouldn't see the interior of the ear on the back, for the back of the ear, if we're looking at the back of someone's head. You just might see some shape, some shadow, and then, but that's all you would see. Or if there was hair coming down, you might see some hair coming down like that to the back of the ear, might come down here like that. But that's how that works. And we'll try that again here so I can let you see that. We would draw the back of the ear like this, and then there would be just like a little shape, and you wouldn't even have to do it all the way. If you'd like to just stop a little ways sometimes, it just gives you that impression of that extra piece of connection to the head onto your ear, and then it gives you that basic shape. So a little bit harder to do them in the back like that. But still the same idea. We're still talking about a C, but just looking at it in a different way. So what I did was I also did a little sketch here, or I did a few heads, different types of heads. And to kind of show you here, I'll zoom in on this a little bit if I can, just to show you, here's our a little boy. Now a younger person or a child or a kid might have larger ears, and they might be a little lower down on the head. That sort of allows you to make a larger head and to make it a little more youthful looking that way. And the side view would be somewhat like this. You see, we're looking at the C here with the little inside C, kind of maybe a little bit lower than normal. Generally, also, didn't mention this too, wanted to say that, is that the ears are going to line up with the eyes. With the top of the ear lines up with the eyes on your character, most likely. Now, if you have a crazy character where he's got all kinds of things going on, you can break those rules. But generally, for your average normal head, that's what you're looking for. Now, here's kind of a goofy looking guy here, maybe a little bit of a fatter head or a more fuller looking head. He's got tiny little ears here, tiny little ears, kind of still lining up with his eyes. And then here's his side view, little tiny little ear, basically lining up with the eye, but you can adjust those things. And that's basically where they fall. He's got a little bit of hair, so you wouldn't see any hair down here. Now here's something a little bit different. When you're looking at a person with longer hair, like a woman or a girl character or a mom or something like that, you might see the hair coming down like this, and the ear would be almost just inside the hair, next to the hair, sometimes even covered. You might even see the hair, the ear on a mom covered a little bit in the hair. We might take our eraser and erase that hair a little bit. So you might see some of the hair come over the ear like that. So you might see that rather than letting the ear show. Then on the side, here also, the hair comes down here, but it also could very easily come over the ear as well on a longer haired person like a girl or a mom. And here's just a kind of a funny looking guy with an oblong, long, skinny head, larger ears, they stick out a lot. And then here we'd look at it from the side, kind of, these almost look the same. The front view and the side view almost look the same, which is common. You would see that sometimes if the ears stick out. But that's basically how it looks there, sort of lining up with those eyes. And then here's kind of a look I sort of drew with the ear if it was more skinny rather than sticking out like that. A little more skinny, a little more flat, like we showed earlier. But that's how that looks. And so there's some heads for you showing how they would look on different types of heads. You can move them around. You can do what you like with them. You can have fun with it. That's the best thing. I'll go ahead and bring this sheet back. But just remember your C, it's the easy ears. You're just using the letter C, and you're putting the little C inside, like that. That's all you need to remember right there to get you started. So let's go ahead and try some of those. Try some of those at home. See what you do. See how it goes. Fill up a whole sheet with ears. And then that sheet of paper will be able to hear really good because it's full of ears. So just funny, just a little funny there. But yes, fill up a sheet of paper with some ears. Just keep drawing them over and over again. Different shapes and different sizes. And you'll find the more you do it, the easier it'll get for you. And that's the end of our little lesson today. I hope you like it. We'll do some more videos that talk about the parts of the face and the body as well. So give it a try. If you have any comments or any questions, you can put them down there in the comments. And if you like these videos, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So, all right, see you later, guys.